let's move on to the life management system. Now this is hands down the most advanced life counter ever designed. This sucker does it all, and I'm here to give you a rundown. Now first we begin with the basic portrait screen. Let's begin at the top with the name of the player and their picture. Right here to the right in the center, nice and big is their life total, that of course you can adjust as you choose to. Now down here on the bottom right is their poison total. You just tap on that and their poison total will replace their life total here in the center. And you can adjust that accordingly. Let me click on the heart icon down here, tap on it, and that will change to the life counter. Now here we have Joe Derp, that is my opponent, and that is his picture. Here is his life total, and here's his poison total. Now let's say we wanted to adjust the amount of mana in my pool. And sometimes you need to keep track of that. What about my storm count? Well, that of course is right on the other side of the player profile. You click on this little pentagon, and here it is. And you can change the colorless mana, any of the 5 colors of mana, and the storm count as you see fit. And there's no accidental clicking of resetting all these things. You actually have to slide it to reset the values, which is pretty cool. So down here we have our timer that has begun because we have started doing things. We have adjusted life total and so on and so forth. Here is our game button, which will allow us to end the match in the game or cancel either of these actions. Here we will have the add player button. Now if you choose to add a player, you will see a warning that will come up because you will make this a casual game. It will no longer be games 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 or so on and so forth, which we will not do at this time. Down here you'll see the history. As you scroll down here, you'll see that I have gotten poison and I've gotten life and things of that nature. You have the ability to start and stop the timer, and that of course will also show up in the history. And we can add a note to the history. So let's say things got really bad here, and they certainly did. Okay, so we scroll back up and we see the ability to look at the player settings. Let's say you wanted to change your name or change your picture. Well, you would just click on the little gear icon down here in the bottom left. Here we can change the name. Let's say I wanted to be Evan E. instead of Evan Irwin. And we can change our picture. You can change your picture to anything you have in your photo library. You just tap on it and it will bring up all your saved photos. And let's say I wanted to change it to that one. Now you can resize these photos as you like, as you normally would any other photo on the phone. You just pinch. And once you have it lined up, you click on choose. That shows up there. Now for teams, we come by default with 2 teams. You can have as many teams as you like, but you can only be a member of one of them. So we have by default Team 1 and Team 2, and I have added Super Team, which is who I am a part of. No, I'm just kidding. We'll have no team. And down here we have our commander option. Now right now it's blank, but in your commander will default to your name if you don't have one specified here, but let's make one. So let's click on, or let's tap here and let's type in Memnarch, as that is my commander. And down below this you have the option to change your background. Now by default we come with 7 different backgrounds. You have white, which is what you get to start off with, but you can change it to blue, black, red, green, gold, or artifact. Let's take a look at the green. Very cool, huh? So that's what the green profile looks like. Let's take a look at a different color. Let's change it to blue. Many players' favorite colors, and that looks fan-freaking-tastic. So of course you can cycle through all those, take a look at all those as you do through your player profiles. And let's say we wanted to add a player. Now we click on the add player button, and that's the little plus sign right here next to the player profile image. Now again, it warns us this is going to make it a casual game, but you know what? That's okay with me. When I do so, I see profiles. Now this is another huge advance in life counter and life total management, is the ability to create different profiles for different people that you play with or that you play against, and to be able to recall options about them instantaneously. You have their name in there, you have your picture in there, you have your commander set up, you have your teams if you'd like to have them on teams. All those preferences are saved, and of course you can create a new profile using this button right here, which we'll do. So we create a profile by default that has a name of Change Me, which we will change to something different. We'll say Mini-Me. And here we're going to change from the default picture to something saved in my photo albums, which we'll do it to this one. Let's make it really crazy huge. So there he is. And we'll have his team be the Super Team. Alright, and we'll change our commander name here to Reaper King, and we'll have my default background be red. Okay, So we go back to the Add Player screen, and we have now the Mini-Me option, which we will choose. And now down here on Super Team is the Mini-Me. He's coming to get you. We are going to get rid of Mini-Me because I don't want him anymore. And to do that, you just go here and click on the little gear. And up here in the top right, you have the Remove option. You can get rid of him forever. And away he goes. And we're back to me and Mr. Derp. Now, let's say you're in a tournament setting and you like this view and all, but you really want something a little bit more, I don't know if I call it prestigious, but I definitely call it cool. So with that, you just turn the phone sideways and you see the landscape view. Now this has higher res images for both the players. It has the names up top, of course. It has our wins listed right up here up top for convenience. Has the game button right in the middle to record match wins and game wins. Has the timer right here as it started, and as things change, so does the timer begin. You can modify your poison total or your life total on command, of course. And let's say that a game ended in a draw, so you would end the game, not me, not him, but a draw. You'll say starting game 2 of 3, and you'll see there's one draw right up here up top. So it actually adjusted for you to see draws without even having to go anywhere else, which is nice. And down here you have 4 different options. You start with home, which is your default, which is your home screen. Now right here you have history. Now history has the ability to look through all of your older matches, every single one of them that you've had in the app. Let's say we found the SCG Open Orlando round 1. Now this has game 1 and game 2. Again, I tapped here and I can name this match whatever I'd like. I can call it round 1 or round 2 or round 3 or whatever, as you like. But we'll just change this back to round 1. Alright. However, with the games here, we can look at each game. It actually records who you played against, what profile, and the image, if there was an image in there. And we'd actually rename these games. Let's say this was game 1. Stuff got serious. And that's the name of the game right there as you changed it. And let's call game 2 Things Got Bad. And indeed they did. So that's a way for you to go back, both label and keep track of all of your old matches if you'd like, and at your fingertips. So if you go back here, you see the home screen yet again. We click on settings. You can change some of the smaller settings in the app, such as the starting life total and your life increment. But you can also do things like change the match settings from best 2 of 3 to the casual 1-on-1, best 3 of 5, 4 of 7, and 5 of 9. You can change the teams, which includes editing any existing team. And we'll call this one Team 0, just to make it a little odd. So there's 1, 2, and 0. And you can add teams as you like. Now down here you have login delay, for example. Now the between your actions is how long it will wait before it actually puts it in the history. You have your starting poison totals, your poison increment, starting commander damage, and your commander damage incrementing. Now if we go back here, we'll see our profiles button. Now we had went over profiles a little bit earlier, but again, just to reiterate, here is where you have profile set up. These are templates. These are sort of cookie cutters that you can create and then copy into games. So if you add the Joe Derp profile to a game, and then in that game you modify what his picture looks like. Let's say it looks like that one all of a sudden. Well, and you go back to profiles, you'll see that Joe Derp still has the doggy picture. Now that's because we edited the player over here that it copied into the game versus the profile, which is the template that it creates it from. A little bit funny to get your head around, but I assure you it helps out once you have lots of profiles and lots of people in your app. So that is the overview of the life management, and now it's time to move on to other cool stuff in the app.